were from this super small village with no shows and no places where to enjoy music around and stuff. So we started kind of creating it.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Luca. Hello.
And Luca, what is the name of the band that you play for?
I play in a band called Stormo.
And you do vocals, is that correct?
Yeah, I do vocals. I cannot play any instrument. I'm sorry.
And Luca, how would you describe the music of Stormo?
Okay, that's a kind of difficult question, but I think that basically the music we do is a huge mix of pretty much everything. Like, I mean, there's a lot of noise. There's some screamo. There's some hardcore. There's something that reminds me some metal stuff. It's a huge mix, I think, and I've never been able to describe it properly because, like, I've never thought about Stormo as a hardcore band, as a screamo band, as a metal band. I really don't know. I don't even care to describe it like that, and I think that it's just, I don't know, the four of us that mixes everything that we like, enjoy, listen, experience everything. And at the end, that somehow it becomes Stormo. And yeah, and I pretty like it. I kind of like it. Yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Stormont mixes a lot of different styles together, including black metal, screamo, grindcore, even some electronic influences on this latest album. But would you say that you guys, as individuals, your experiences were first in the hardcore scene?
I mean, you say, you mean if we come directly from the hardcore scene, like, I don't know, we actually, like, as individual and as band, we grown in a very small place in the Dolomites of the northeast of Italy, nearby the Austrian border, and up there was not something as a hardcore scene, not even a scene actually of anything. There was a lot of rocks and snow, and that's it. And at a certain point, there was a rehearsal room from the city hall. The city hall gave us this rehearsal room, and we started playing the music that we like. And so, yeah, I don't know, like in the beginning, it was something very strange then, because like actually we were from this super small village with no shows and no places where to enjoy music around and stuff. So we started kind of creating it because we needed it. And after a little bit, we moved to a bigger city, which is called Bologna, which is the city where I live right now. And over there, we got in touch with actually what we can call like a punk hardcore scene and squats and stuff like that. And that shaped a lot, I think, the way we managed the project Storm afterwards.
How did you meet the other members of the band? You guys were all in the same village together. Did you guys go to school together or something?
Yeah. We went to school together and like we grew up in this little place. So like at the end, you end up knowing each other, and yeah, we know each other from like 20 years or something like that. So a lot.
Did you guys have any other goals besides just getting together to form a band and play some music?
I think that it was like we didn't thought about setting up a band and going around playing and touring and making records. It just happened, and we enjoyed it. And doing it, we kind of understood that it was something that it was really important for us, but like we were not expecting anything about it. And so, like, yeah, it wasn't prepared. I would say it wasn't. We didn't choose to do it. Actually, it just happened, and it was really nice. And yeah, like I think that this whole thing has shaped our lives very deeply. Like we afterwards we made choices like to not move in other countries, for example, or I don't know, I choose to not take a PhD or stuff like that, just because like the thing we're getting was getting more and more important, and we really wanted to focus on this. And yeah, beside that, actually, right now, we live in four different cities along the whole Italian coast, basically. And so we're really far from each other, and everybody has obviously his own life and his place. And like we meet up just playing. So like it became something that I don't know, it glue us together somehow after all these years. And I think that it's very important to have this. Like, I really want this in my life. And for the rest, I would say, like, yeah, I want to do a lot of different things in my life, but there's this central point that stays there. And it's nice. I think I'm very lucky about this.
When you guys decided to move to Bologna, had you guys already recorded and released the first EP and the first 7 inch?
Yes, exactly. And the first 7 inch was a split with a band from the city of Bologna, and then we finished the high school and we moved here, and here we had written and recorded our first proper record, and yeah.
Did moving to Bologna give you more opportunities to play shows and maybe even tour to different parts of Italy and Europe?
I think so. Like, I mean, basically, we moved in a city that where back then were really was really active about like concert. There was a huge punk scene. There was like dozen of squad with like gigs every night. You know, so like it was the right place for it to be if you want to do that thing. You know, and yeah, and we learned a lot. We learned how to manage concert. We learned how to organize festival. We learned how to get a van and tour. How to make a record and send it to labels, and yeah. So it was a big part for us, like learning how all this works. You know, in a punk DIY way, I would say, and that's as I was saying, that shaped the way we kept going with Storm. The shape it. Se questa video è un fiume, ho provato a fermare nel corso, opponendo i palmi aperti delle mani alla corrente. So che riusciamo a distruggere da secoli la misura della nostra grandezza. Siamo rimasti da soli e sei piaciuti il quadro delle nostre memorie, costruite con anni di pugno allo specchio, fino a scomporre con le gocce di sangue. Un
When you write songs, how does it usually happen?
Oh, well, as I was saying, I cannot play anything. So the other write the songs and I write the lyric. And then at a certain point we meet and we try to put the thing together. But in this last record was kind of different because like we wrote it basically, we wrote basically the whole record on tour. So like we were putting together riffs like in the van, on the ferries, while traveling around and in the hotel rooms during night and all that stuff. And we were saving the part that we liked. And we say, okay, record this with the phone because we're going to work on this later. And so we got on with all those small pieces of songs and we put them together and we worked on it. And yeah, and that was what happened. So yeah, this time was a little different, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed sharing the process all together while touring, and it was nice.
Before, was it mostly Michael, your guitarist, who was writing the songs?
Well, before this record, basically the structure of the song were written basically by the guitarist, which was not Michael. Michael joined the band a year and a half ago, I would say. It was really recent. And but yeah, before like the guitar part were written kind of first, and then we were trying to put everything together after. And and yeah, I think that Michael brought a little more black metal and a little more screamo into the sound, and I personally like it.
So is this Michael's first album with the band?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
How did he end up joining Storma?
Oh, well, because like we were, he plays in a lot of bands, and so I had a venue in Bologna for live gigs, and he played in my venue a couple of times. Then he did some side project with my bass player who made basically tape loops, noise, and stuff like that. And he's a classic guitarist. Actually, he studied at the classic guitar, so they made some project with noises, tape loop, and classic guitars. And at a certain point, we were in need of a guitarist for to tour, and he offered himself to learn the song and tour with us. And then after the tour, like the thing became kind of like grow, started growing, and yeah, became stable basically. So it was a pretty natural process, I would say.
What's the name of your venue?
Of my old venue was called Dev, DEV,
PEV?
D D E View, Dev.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Dev, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was a nice place. It was a nice place, but we ran it for like 4 years. Then the city started changing, and like it wasn't anymore. It didn't make sense anymore to have it. So yeah.
Oh, I see. So you don't have the venue anymore.
No, we closed it. We closed it in December, pretty recently, actually, and like we were the last venue in the city center of Bologna that were having live music in terms of metal, punk, hardcore, and that stuff. And we did 4 very nice years, like a lot of band passed. We managed a festival as well. It was really really nice. But like we kind of knew that at a certain point some problems would occur because like there's a reason because there's no venue of that kind in the city center, and everybody moved outside. But we didn't really like that thing. Like we didn't really like to have just tortellini and tagliatelle in the city center. Like it looks like a kind of fake city. So we tried to do it, and for 4 years it was really really nice. But then we closed because like it was time to close. It didn't make any sense anymore to be there because like problems with the neighbors start, with the city all start, with the police, so like it became way more difficult every day to keep it open. So at a certain point, you just close it.
It's a lot of work and not a lot of not a lot of reward to keep a venue open, especially for underground music.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But I loved it. I loved it. We'll do it again for sure in the same way. But yeah, it was as I told you. I already know when we open at a certain point all this would have happened. So yeah, it's fine.
So At the time that we're having this conversation, you'll be releasing a new album at the end of the week through Prosthetic Records.
Yeah.
Luca, can you say the title of the album for me?
The title of the album is Tagli, Talee, which is kind of difficult to pronounce if you're not Italian, I know, but I like the title, so.
Yeah. And it's almost like a pun, right? Like it's a play on words. Talee Talee.
Yeah. It means cuts and grafts. So, and actually, the album speaks about that, like about cutting out things and give space to other things to grow, and which is really difficult, I think, sometimes, but it's a nice exercise.
When did you actually start working on the album, and when did you feel you were finished with the songs?
Well, it was kind of fast, I would say, because like we started writing songs during the songs during our latest tour in April, I would say, yeah. And by the end of the summer, it was done. And so like we recorded it in September, and yeah, it was really easy. I think it was the fastest and the easiest album to write, and I'm really happy about how it sounds because like it all makes sense, like I don't know. I think it represents perfectly at what point the band is, what the band is doing, what we're working on, and I think it opens up to new way of experimenting with our sound, I would say, and that's what we're trying to do, like trying to experiment with tape loops, noise, electronics, and that stuff. So I think like it's a nice picture of where we are right now and what we're doing. So I'm really satisfied about that.
Is it important to you that Stormo does something different with every album, or adds to your sound with every album?
I think that is not a thing that we look for. Like we don't get together and say, okay, we need to do an album that is completely different from the previous one. But like since like Stormo collect basically everything that happened in our lives, I would say, then it happens that every album is kind of different from the one before because like it's a different time, it's a different period. We're doing different things. We're thinking about different stuff, and all this for surely get in the album somehow. So yeah.
Where did you guys record the album?
It depends. For the previous one, the one Endocannibalismo was recorded in Veneto at Giulio Favero studio, which is a guy that works with a lot of bands in Italy and stuff. And but like this one and the previous one were made by Icho, which is the guy who recorded as well Messa, The Secret, worked with Boy Archer, Soft Moon, and all those bands. And in this last record, he made just the mixing and the mastering, and he helped us out with the effects, how to make the electronics work with our sound and all those things. And but we recorded it actually with our sound engineer, which is called Diego, and has a little studio named Cabot Cove here in Bologna. So we did all the recording process with him, and he made some part of electronics in the album are made by him as well, and he played some synth for us and stuff. And so like when we were done with all this, we gave it to Riva at the Distilleria, it's called the studio, and he put everything together. That's it.
When you say Diego is your engineer, do you mean like he's your live sound guy?
Yeah. He toured with us and he recorded us.
And he also recorded the single that you guys put out at the end of 2024, right?
Well, that in that single he was not the guy who made the electronics. Over there in that song, there's a guy named Oli Similano. He's a sound designer from Italy, a friend of us, that made all the noise in the electronic part. In the beginning of the album, the first track of the album ends up with another electronic tracks, and that track is made by Diego. Diego has a taste more that goes more in the direction of techno and that stuff, and you can definitely hear it in this first track. And Alice Milan is more on the noise industrial area, I would say. But it's a nice match having both in the record.
So Diego was like the studio engineer, and Rizio handled the mixing and mastering?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as the production of the album, what did you want Rizio to bring to the finished product?
Well, we had the idea to have record with a lot of bass that sound like, I don't know, kind of raw, with a lot of delays on vocals and with a lot of noise on it. And that's what we asked for, and I think that was what we got, probably.
Yeah. And as far as the electronic and noise stuff, is this something that you guys are planning on bringing to the live shows as well?
Yeah, definitely. Like we have already done it in the last UK tour in January, and it works. And in these days, we're trying to figure out how to improve this, like the sequencer, some electronic parts of the drum, and I'm building my little effect console for the vocals and stuff. But yeah, we definitely want to have it in live shows as it is in the records.
Do you want to speak about some of the themes that you sing about on the album?
Well, for me, is just a kind of long trip around this central concept. Like is just like the writing process of the lyric. It was just observing how I relate myself with this process of letting things go, about cutting off things, about giving space to things to grow, about like how difficult it was to make a step back and silently watch what's happening and say, okay, this is good. Like I might not understand it yet, but probably something good is happening. Let's just we wanted it to flow, you know. So yeah, and for me it took kind of long. Like I started thinking about all the stuff, I think more than 1 year ago, and so yeah, I think that it was like from the beginning to the end of the record in the lyrics, you can find like a kind of fil rouge that links everything together, and yeah, and at the end, yeah, it's just how I have reacted about all the things happening around me.
Do you work on the lyrics and the themes of the song separately from your band members as they're writing the songs?
Well, we work like we usually work in this two field separately. Like, but like this time it was kind of different again because I wrote some of the lyrics while they were writing the riffs on tour, or even while they were putting together the riffs in the rehearsal room. And so yeah, and I think it was good because like I think there's like lyrics and music are matching more this time than when I got to record with all my lyrics done and like trying to put it and adapt it to the music after while we were rehearsing or trying to record. And so yeah, I'm really happy that somehow even this as a little shifted, and yeah, it was shared more as well.
With the album coming out fairly soon, what do you guys have planned as far as shows and tours for the summer and maybe the rest of the year?
We have a really nice tour with Bad Goals in Europe, and I'm really happy about it because we're gonna play with some amazing band. Like we're playing with Here's Collective, with Blind Girls, and it's a really nice tour. I really can't wait to start it. And then we have for the summer until November, we have some festival and shows in Italy mostly after the tour, and that's it. And from November on, we'll see. We're already working on new music, so who knows?
Are you working on new music with a release in mind, or are you guys just writing?
We're writing stuff. We have written stuff, and we're trying to see what where this experimentation with noise and electronics can bring us. So like that's what we're doing right now.
Cool. So, by the time people hear this episode, Talee
Yeah.
will be released through Prosthetic Records. Luca, please tell everyone how they can order the album. What's the best way to get it?
You can order the album from our Bandcamp or from the Prosthetic web store, and depending on where you are located in the world. But you can order from both. Thank you for ordering.
And I think Prosthetic is releasing the album on black vinyl, right?
Yeah, just black bar.
There are no variants?
No. We wanted a really easy album. Like we wanted the album looks really easy, really old school, really simple, just black and white, black line.
Any reason? Or you just wanted to keep the release simple?
Because because I think it's matching with the concept of the record. Like it's as we told as we were saying, like it's something about cutting and regrowing. So like the first step needs to be easy and clear, I would say.
Yeah, makes sense. And all your merch goes to the Bandcamp page?
No. Our merch, you can order our merch from Serimal, which is our online shop concerning t-shirt and everything else, and which is run from one of friend named Michele, which is the drummer of Black Viete and Rain. So like you can head over his website and order whatever. Yeah, it's a lot of super nice merch.
And if people want to follow Storma online and get updates on live shows and future releases and things like that, what's the best way to do that?
I would say on Instagram. Our Instagram is called Storma Band, and I'm trying to update our Facebook as well, but I really hate Facebook and I really suck at social media, but I try to post about shows at least.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your question, and enjoy the album. I hope.
Grazie, Luca.
Grazie.